Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Subby with Storm Track Weather Center and Subby's Weather Talk, and I am back here again with Hunter Lovewell, agronomist that lives right here in Henry County. So a couple weeks back, we started talking about how come the humidity was so high compared to other parts of the country, and one of the reasons was for transpiration. And a lot of people reached out wanting to know what transpiration was. And of course, that is the loss of water from a plant to the atmosphere. And of course, that adds moisture into the atmosphere. Therefore, the dew point continues to climb. And that's the reason why we see such high dew points along the corn belt. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to go out and prove this theory by heading out to a local cornfield, and we are going to see if we can catch the act of this process in real time. So come with us. We're going to be traveling out. We're going to be talking about the weather and the local crop conditions right here in West Central Missouri, and we will pick it up at the cornfield right here at Storm Track Weather Center. Alright guys, so we are here at a local cornfield, and again, what we are trying to prove to you guys is the act of transpiration in nature. And I'm going to have Hunter here describe what we are trying to do today. So go ahead and tell them what we got, Hunter.
Yeah, thanks, Subby. So basically what we have here is we're kind of trying to basically prove that this corn plant is putting off moisture, right? It's letting out water. Basically, and we're just trying to capture it in this bag here. But basically, you know, plants in general, but corn plants are great to talk about with this. Is these plants, as they mature and they're trying to stay cool, basically they put off moisture. Moisture is coming out of the plant itself and in the soil, and so that's called transpiration. And it's basically it's as if the plant is breathing. The plant is essentially breathing out. So the stomata in the leaves opens up, and it releases this vapor, this moisture. So that's part of the drying down process, right? It's releasing that moisture. It's trying to stay cool, but in effect, it's causing this this plant to dry down. And so, in this bag, we hope to capture some of that moisture coming out of the plant. And Subby, you probably maybe have talked about this, but you know, something really interesting here in the Midwest. We have a lot of acres of corn. You know, we probably have plus or minus 90 million acres a year of corn in the United States. And so this process can really impact regional weather conditions at times.
Oh, absolutely. And so once that transpiration begins and the plant begins to, quote, sweat, it is being released into the atmosphere, therefore increasing the moisture, increasing the dew point, and just like we felt last week, it's going to increase the heat index across the corn belt. So basically, very simple experiment. We took a Ziploc and put it across the leaves with a zip tie to capture all of the moisture. So we are going to give it about 30 minutes, and then we're going to come back on and we're going to take a look and see what we have in the bag. So stay with us, and hopefully we'll have some great results here in just a few minutes. All right, so while we wait, I was talking to Hunter a little bit about the corn production and the corn crops here in West Central Missouri, as so far we have been so fortunate here in Missouri where so far on average, now this is based on a 30-year average, we have received over 120% of average precipitation through August 31st. So everything that I'm seeing that we have driven by today has looked exceptionally well. So Hunter, what have you seen out there in the field that you've looked at?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing, there's going to be quite a bit of variability in the corn crop this year. I think there's going to be some really good corn, some of that early planted corn. They got a lot of good moisture earlier in the growing season. They got a good start. I think it's going to be pretty good. However, there was quite a bit of corn in the area that had to get replanted. So I think we're kind of looking at a couple different corn crops, kind of an earlier and a later season. I'm a little bit concerned about some of that later season planted corn. I think, we got some good rainfall early on, but it kind of turned spotty, and it seems like things kind of shut off widespread later in the growing season, during pollination and grain fill. So I think it's going to come down a lot to how good your soil is in each field, what kind of water carrying capacity your soil has, and did you, were you able to get some of those spottier showers and storms that we've had as of late? And I think if you've had some of that come together, I think you're going to do okay. If you haven't had as much, later season rain, crop might be, a little bit lower on yield, but
and that's one thing too, Hunter, that we discussed here last week at Subby's Weather Talk, is the fact that we get those percentages, that 120% on average over the last 30 years. We got that number from a centralized point in the county. So you know as well as I do, these thunderstorms have been very scattered over the last 3 weeks. One area of the county might pick up 2.5 inches of rain, and the other half of the county might only pick up a quarter, if any. So that does play a big part of whether or not the corn is looking good where you are at. But on average, we have been doing better than what we had been over the last few years. And you mentioned some of those early season rains. Back in April, we had 9 inches in Henry County over the course of 3 or 4 days, causing quite a bit of flooding, and as Hunter said, a lot of replant of crops. So that is going to obviously play a part in that overall picture up through the end of August. But we are hoping, the LRC is showing that we are to remain over 100% of average through the month of September, and of course that's going to be leading up to harvest time. So hopefully we can get some moisture in the ground, get it dried out, so these guys can go out and be able to harvest their crops this fall. So all right, so let's go ahead. We've got just a few more minutes before we'll check on our transpiration experiment, and until then, me and Hunter are going to sit here and we're going to talk farming. So we'll catch you here in just a little bit, guys. All right, guys, so it's been about 35 minutes now, and as we come over to the bag, noticeable moisture is within the bag, and hopefully you can see this. I'm also going to have a couple of pictures that we can take a look at afterwards, but there is definitely moisture in the bag, probably more than what I thought there was going to be. There's actually some drops of moisture in the bag, so hopefully you are getting this on the video. And again, we will take a picture to go along with this experiment. So again, Hunter, thank you so much for being out here with us today.
Thank you.
And again, guys, what we're trying to do is trying to prove the transpiration process of a corn plant and why the dew point is so much higher here in the Corn Belt than anywhere else in the country. So again, Hunter Lovewell, agronomist right here, makes his residence here in Henry County. And of course, this is Subby with Storm Track Weather Center, 95.3 KDKD, and Subby's Weather Talk, coming from a local cornfield near you. Have a great day, guys.